Hey peeps, my name is Naisha and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions on chapter 8 and 9 of Immortal Desires 2. And also there will be spoilers, so I just want you to know that. So if you want to just wait a couple of weeks to play these chapters, or if you want to go watch Locum 23, be my guest. But then when you're done, please come back to this video so you can hear my thoughts and opinions, and also so you can comment down in the comments below what you think about these chapters and the book so far. So again, there will be spoilers. Now, back to chapter 8 and 9. So basically, we leave off where chapter 7 had left off, which was Parker basically showing herself to not only Lennox, but to her mother. And then, of course, Astoria and Lewin comes in and takes Parker away. And of course, Parker, she goes to the Nexus. And of course, Astoria and Lewin, they tell Parker what she did. And of course, she's in front of the elders of the covens. And, they let her know, like, not only has she showed herself in front of her mother, but also Lennox. So, yeah, she's going to have to get a punishment more severe than basically getting branded by Silver. And, of course, her punishment is basically going out of the ley lines and, like, just staying out of the ley lines for a week. And then she could come back in. And, of course, Gabriel and Cass, they ain't having. They like, what? Excuse me? Like, yeah, they're not having it. So they decide to go with her and things like that. So now, of course, she, Gabe, and Cass are out of the ley lines, and they have to keep walking, try to find a cave so they can, like, lay low for basically a week. And of course, while they're doing this, Parker, she's fantasizing about her life, with Gabe and Cass, like, basically without the coven and just out in the world without, like, the ley lines and things like that. And not only is she's doing that, but also they do come across the cage because they are getting sun poisoning where Cass and Gabe are. Because Parker is getting these abilities from the ley lines, she has the ability to basically cloud herself from, like, the sun and things, whereas Cass and Gabe are not. So they quickly make it to the cave, but Cass is feeling it more than Gabe is, and of course Parker is a little bit concerned. But while they're in the cave, they decide to go and do some digging. And so when they get into the cave, they come across a diary. And this diary, if you ever played the first book, the diary basically is the vampire that got turned. Like in the first book, there's this older couple, this man and this woman. The man, he turned the woman, and because he turned the woman without the coven permission, they were, banished from Crimson Beach. And this is the couple. I want to say, yeah, the woman. This is the woman's point of view, like, after she gets banished and stuff. Like, in the diary, she talks about how she met the guy, how she found out that he was a vampire because he told her how she was sick and she was dying, and so because he didn't want to live without her, he turned her without, like, caring what the coven says. Then they end up banished, and then of course we find out that, like, they are hunted by hunters and things like that, and of course they're trying to escape the hunters. unfortunately, this is a sad story because then we see the couple, basically the couple skeletons, and you see a picture of like the couple skeleton, and they're like in, like they just holding each other, and you see stakes in the skeleton, so we know that they were staked to death. And so yeah, they ended up not basically having the best ending. Of course, Parker and Gabe and Cass, they are feeling down because of that. Now I forgot like what made them, just go walking and stuff. I think he was just going walking and things like that. But they stumble across a building, and of course they get curious and they want to figure out like what's going on and things like that. And so then I want to say they go up to a roof and they basically notice and see and hear these people talking, and they notice that one of the people looks familiar. Come to find out, it's the guy. It's one of the park rangers that was with Lennox. And come to find out, this is where we find out that the Forest Bureau is a cover up and they're really vampire hunters and things like that. And that's how chapter 8 ends. And chapter 9, takes up where chapter 8 left, which is them still on top of the roof, shocked and surprised that, like, they find the hunters and that the hunters are creating talismans and things like that. And of course, Cass wants to go gun ho, and she just want to murk everybody in the building. Of course, Gabe is like, hey, no, we don't need to do that. We need first we need to go warn the others about what's going to happen and things like that. Because also in chapter 8 that I forgot to mention, but they was talking about basically getting rid of all the vampires in Crimson Beach and stuff like that. And I'm want to say they trying to find the nexus and things like that. So of course, Gabe is like, hey, we should warn the others and also try to get evidence and things like that. And of course, Parker also agrees with Gabe. And even though Cass is like, she wants to go gung ho, but she understands that Gabe and Parker are right. So they go back to their cave and they basically try to figure out what to do from there. And of course, Gabe and Cass are thinking about, of course, going back. However, they want Parker to stay put. Parker like, no, no, because I'm going to be worrying about y'all. And I want to protect y'all like I want to protect me. So I'm going with you no matter what. You can't stop me. Let's go. So they end up going. They end up going back and they end up basically trying to recon, try to get the survey of things and whatnot. But before they could do that, Cass decides to tell them like what's going on with her, because if you didn't know in the previous chapters, if you don't know, Cass got paper cut, and it seems like that paper cut isn't getting better. Well, she shows them the paper cut now, and it seems like it's getting infected and it's getting worse. Is getting close to her elbow and stuff. And of course, Gabe is like, where it must have came from the cord, the silver cord that Lennox had gave her and stuff. It must also be used as a weapon and things like that. And Cass was like, well, if it's silver and stuff, like silver, like even though silver hurts them, it shouldn't last this long. So she still doesn't figure out what's going on. Also, what's going on with her is that now she's developing powers. Like it seems like she has like nature. Her power is nature. Like she can make trees move. She could make it rain, thunder, lightning, and things like that. And of course, that freaked her out, and that's the reason why she been avoiding Parker. Of course, Parker is comforting her and saying that Cass would never hurt her and things like that, and that she trusts Cass, and just giving Cass the support that she needs. After this, they go back and try to see where the labs are, because they see that the warehouse, that the building that they first saw, they realize that's not the lab that they're making the talisman. There has to be a lab where they are making these talismans, so they go to find the lab. And so they could get, like, evidence, and then go to Astoria, Lewin, and the Covens to tell them what's about to go down. Now, as they're doing this, Parker is having, she decides to go and steal a map from a hunter's car, but she ends up not doing it. And she feels bad that she came empty-handed. But lucky for her, Cass went to also do some intel and find out where the lab is. And so they go to the lab. Parker lures the two guards that are guarding the lab. She lures them away with her projection ability. And of course, they go into the lab and they, looking around to see what's going on. They pick up two different talisman. One is basically to inject silver into someone, so that like if they inject it into like a normal person, it wouldn't do nothing. But if you inject it into a vampire, it will reveal their true, reveal their eyes and fangs and stuff like that. And then the other attachment they see, it sounds like it creates like a fire and stuff like that. And from what was described, it's like if someone drop it in like a hole or something, like drop it in like a space, it would just everything would be ablaze in there. So Parker, Gabe, and Cass think that they know where the Nexus is, and is going to use this talisman, the Nexus and stuff like that. And not only that, but they also find out that how they are powering these talisman, how they are like making these talisman doing this, is that they're using the energy from the ley line, from the ley lines, to basically power up these talisman and things like that. And of course, this is shocking, and now they definitely got to get back to Astoria, Lumen, and the Coven. But before they could even do anything else, they hear people outside of the lab. And of course, we hear a familiar voice. Parker is like, yo, that voice sounds too familiar. So she went to sneak peek to see who it is. She sees Lennox. And then not only does she see Lennox, but she sees her mama. Her mama is there with Lennox. And of course, Parker is looking like she got the Pikachu shock face on. And that's how chapter 9 ends. Now, my thoughts about this is, I'm going to be honest. For one, I was trying to figure out what happened to the mom and Lennox, because I'm thinking like Parker showed herself. So did they go and like, like compel, like erase like Lennox and her mom's memories? Like, it makes you question, like, what did they do? Because like when she showed herself, like, did they erase her memory, her mom's memory and things like that? And not only that, but what's her mom doing with Lennox? Like, I understand that like her mom, like, because when Parker, Gabe, and Cass found the dead vampire, and they had to bring they didn't have to bring, but because they heard like the Forest Bureau coming close to them, they decided to act like, scared teenagers and things like that. But like when they first got the body, and of course the Forest Bureau brought the body to the Crimson Beach Hospital, of course, where Parker mom work, and of course, Parker mom, she's always curious and excited, and of course, she's gonna get in contact with the Forest Bureau to like just see like what else happened, so she could pinpoint like what else happened to the body, that type of situation. But not only with that, um, it's like I understand like her like talking to Lennox, but it's like why did she decide to like come like I'm hooked. Now I want to see what happens next, cuz it's like what is Parker's mom doing with Lennox? Like why is she here and stuff? It makes me wonder, did Astoria and Lewin not like wipe her memory and stuff, and did they not wipe Lennox either? Like I'm so confused. And also, I'm kind of curious about Cass' powers, because Cass now has powers. And it's like, okay, if Cass has powers, is Gabe going to have powers and stuff like that? Because we could already tell, like, why, Parker has powers. Because, again, like I said, if you didn't play the first book, you know how the ley line energy went into her, like in the last chapter and stuff like that. I want to say, yeah, the last chapter. Either the last chapter or the second from last. But we know how the ley lines, had like the energy went into her, and she, you know, was beating down the creator, but then like the ley line energy, sink back in and stuff like that. But we get that Parker has a connection to the ley lines. But it's like, okay, where did this power come from when it came to Cass? It's like, okay, so can any vampire now have powers now? Like, I'm very curious to know like how this happened and stuff like that. Um, Not only that, but I'm gonna be honest, I was also sad to hear about like the older vampire couple in the previous um book. Like I really wanted them to like not only, because again we know that they got banished in the first book, but I was hoping that they had a happy ending, and to see that they didn't have a happy ending, that they just died holding each other. That's bittersweet. It's like it's beautiful that they were together, but it's sad that they were killed and things like that. And so yeah, that was so heartbreaking. And it's like, I'm not gonna lie, but not chapter, but Immortal Desires 2 is really living up to the hype and things like that. Cause I thought like what can you do to make it better or good? And it seems like they are doing a good job so far making it better. I'm curious to know why Parker's mom's there, and like just I just want to know what's the freak's going to happen. And because they're still in the lab, it's like, okay, so are they gonna get out? Are they gonna get caught? Are they gonna get trapped? Like, I'm sorry, but these two chapters had me a nervous wreck, because I was like, oh Lord, y'all about to go into the lion's den, like nervous. So, but I am excited, and I can't wait to see what happens in chapter 10. And now that I have shared my thoughts and opinions so far, what do you guys think about chapter 8 and 9? And just like from chapter 1 to chapter 9 so far, like what do you think of Immortal Desires 2? Do you like it? Do you don't like it? Do you think there could be a bit more? Also, if you hear any voices, I apologize. But sorry if y'all hear any voices, I apologize. But just let me know what you guys think about just let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know what your thoughts and opinions on about Immortal Desires 2, chapter 8 and 9, and even with the previous chapters. Also, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, see ya!